You're listening to From a Certain Point of Skew, the only Star Wars podcast to offer 2-for-1 Blurg Burgers on half-off Wednesdays. And as a friendly reminder to our listeners, Kaz and the Cast of Resistance is dead to us. Fucking dead. I'm Jason, the Angry Ginger Jedi Guy, broadcasting live from Wookiee Poo Studios. Not alone, though. Darth Matthews is staring at me with a smile, wondering where the hell that came from.
Yeah, why? I mean, I know that it's going to come up in our question of the week answers briefly, but what sparked that thought?
Because I looked through the notes and saw him, and I felt it needed to be said immediately.
It makes your blood spike. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
You didn't hate everybody on that show, but he really got under your skin.
Yeah, which is odd because he's a cartoon character. It should have worked, but it just fucking annoyed me.
I thought you meant it's odd that I hate somebody who's a cartoon character, but you mean because he's goofy like a cartoon character.
That too. Yes.
Oh, fuck, man. All right. Well, you can find our show from a certain point of skew.com. You can find us on Twitter at FACPA Pod. By the way, I do try to check our Threads and Blue Sky accounts as well. In fact, I think we got a Blue Sky response to our question of the week, and I forgot to pull it. So my apologies to that person, and I will give you an entry anyway. You can email the show, facpapod@gmail.com. Giveaway is still in play. We've got a few more weeks of the Bad Batch. We're going to do our giveaway the week after the finale when we kind of look back and wrap up the series.
Yeah.
So you can win a Prune Face, Rancor Keeper, or the Emperor from Kenner, 1980s style action figures. You can also win some merch. So please participate by answering our question of the week, sending us emails, sending us voicemails. No voicemails this week. Writing a review. Haven't had one in a little bit. That'd be great. Sending us a FACPA story.
Write us a review. Yeah, we want a FACPA story. So far, we've gotten one from a listener and then the one I was playing around with, right?
There's a few that are kind of maybe in play, but there's one that I'm waiting on the audio for, and then there's yours. I have one that I have a concept for, just haven't gotten anywhere on it yet.
Okay.
And then there's a couple others in the mix that might happen. So we're trying to pull those together because, we are trying to do it for May the 4th. And in fact, why don't we just play that promo right now?
Greetings, galaxy far, far away enthusiasts. Do you find yourself staring into the twin suns, dreaming of untold stories in the Star Wars universe? Well, grab your bantha milk and toss in a spot of spotchka and cozy up to your holo transmitter because From a Certain Point of Skew is making a Kessel Run into your auditory canals.
Ever wondered if that one Jawa who sold R2-D2 and C-3PO had a name? Or what adventures the Mos Eisley Cantina band members get up to when they're not playing the same song over and over? We're looking at you, Figrin' Dan and the modal nodes.
Here at Wookiee Poo Studios, yes, you heard that right, Wookiee Poo, we're on a quest more epic than finding the last piece of the map to Luke Skywalker. We're scouring the galaxy for stories about the unsung heroes. The ones who might have been a little blurry in the background of the cantina scene, or those who didn't quite make the cut for a full speaking role.
And let's be honest, we need your stories because our staff writers are as creatively exhausted as a droid after the Boon to Eve Classic. We're talking more talent in your little finger than in our entire studio. Levels of desperation here.
So unleash your inner George Lucas, or dare we say, a less controversial Rian Johnson, and send us your tales. Make them funny, make them weird, make them so good that even a scruffy-looking nerf herder would shed a tear.
Join us, and together we can rule the podcast galaxy. From a Certain Point of Skew, where your Star Wars fantasies become our next episode's reality.
Such a good promo.
Yes. So May the 4th, meaning we need it in advance of May the 4th. So if you have something and a concept and an idea, please get it over to us. We can always help with the kind of the post-production stuff if you want, as far as adding a little music, little sound effects, adding, if you need us to do a voice to chime in, all that kind of stuff. Happy to do that. We'll do another one probably sometime in the fall. So if you missed this one, next time.
Yeah. If you're a slow writer, if your ideas just haven't, gelled enough to be to come to fruition, we'll wait for you for the fall. But if you've got something now, we want it for May the 4th, and that's less than 4 weeks. Actually, we need it sooner than 4 weeks because we need to do our production and put the episode together.
We need time to pull it together, so the sooner the better.
Yeah.
And I cannot stress enough, even if you have like a part one of your story or a shorter version of a story or something, that's fine. Those are great. You don't have to write a book, we'll take whatever you got.
I hear you, Matt. I hear you.
I'm not saying that to tell you to write it short. I'm just saying, I think if some people are thinking, I've got to flesh out this entire story on this person, oh my God, it's overwhelming. Well, don't. Just like write a part one or do a shorter version.
Right. I agree. On the show today, that's what you want, right?
I'm waiting for
Question of the week. Get a room, you two. In the news, we've got two things. Star Wars Outlaws story trailer. It dropped. And then we're going to talk a little bit of Mangold's new co-writer for the Dawn of the Jedi. Then we're going to go into the Bad Batch episode 12, Juggernaut, which is ironic of a title because the episode was not a Juggernaut. It was like 20 minutes flat.
It was
in and
very
out.
short. Very short.
Yeah, when it ended, I was like, wait a minute. Did I watch a whole episode? I had to go, did I fall asleep during it? It was weird.
Yep.
Bad Batch episode 12. Nope, just read that. I'm like, what's his face? And
From the Anchorman?
no, is it Ron Burgundy does it? Or is it I'm thinking of, which one is it where they read the prompter and they just read?
That's Ron Burgundy.
It's Anchorman.
Yes, he just keeps reading it. He's not actually thinking about what he's saying. He just keeps reading it. Yeah, that's him.
Exactly what I did. Maul Bag, one email.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know what that reaction is. You almost looked at me like, pfft.
Yeah. I
Okay.
thought we had a deal with the listenership. There was two or none. But it's from Brian Hour, so we'll read it.
I forgot to solicit responses this week, so it's on me just as much as everybody else. All right, question of the week. I did this one partially just to get Rose goat because he hates when people get into the whole shipping characters together thing. So I did it,
Okay.
as a partial nod to
I
him.
like it. I didn't see him take part, though, so he must really hate it.
He didn't answer it. He just said, like, why? Or, like, he said, you too?
Okay.
But I did it a little differently. Instead of doing, like, hey, these two were in a scene together once, they should fuck. I did why don't we do it from different eras? That was my goal. A couple people didn't really adhere to that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people love to ship Star Wars characters is the question. So who would you pair from different eras? First up is Norhal, who said, my Game of Thrones fan side made me think of this one, which is Mando, Pedro Pascal, and Kira, who we're going to talk about in a minute, Emilia Clarke. I've never seen a Game of Thrones. Did those two characters ever interact on that show?
No.
Okay.
I think she was still halfway around the continent at the time when his character was in there. It's been years, but if I recall, no, they did not meet.
All right. Yes, I've never seen it. Maybe someday.
Wow. What are you waiting for?
Wasn't the last season people were all mad about and shit? Like it wasn't as good or something like that?
It wasn't that fucking bad, but everyone it's so weird how the culture, they somehow they decide they own it and it needs to be done the way they would have wanted it. Although if you get four of those people in the room, they wouldn't even agree with each other. So
right.
It was well done. I mean, you can tell it was a little pushed, but I think the ending was going to be the same regardless.
Yeah, okay.
And for 5 seasons, where characters never met, and it was it was so much going on, you didn't complain about it being a slow move. But then the last, season and a half, 2 seasons were boom, boom, boom. It was episodic. And it was I think that jarred people.
I see. All right. Well, I'm just glad that people, fans of Star Wars don't do the same thing where they just feel like it's theirs and it has to go the way they demand it to go.
All on the same page.
Next up is Paul E. Dangerously, which reminds me of the movie Johnny Dangerously. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. Great movie. He says, I've got a few, but my first ones, so he's going to come up periodically throughout. I just kind of did them in order. His first one was Finn and Leia, which, I mean, they do cross over, but he's looking at a young Leia and Finn. So I guess that works.
Yeah,
the different
I see that.
things. Then we've got Paul E. Dangerously again says, hear me out. And he's got Rey and Anakin. That is an interesting pair. She's got a type, and he desperately needs someone that understands his dislike of sand. And the whole Force thing.
Well, I want to point out that there's a Nope, never mind.
Not a bloodline.
I was going with kissing cousins, but it's not. So
it works.
We're safe.
That's
why it doesn't work. That's why it doesn't.
It should be that way.
Right.
All right. Roll your sleeves up. Centurion says, I think they'd be he's posting Kaz and why am I forgetting her name now? Oh my God. Rafa? No. Is it Rafa? Martez?
Rafa. It's Rafa.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those two. And he said, I think they'd be a fun dynamic. The dynamic being, quote, she let me hit it because I'm goofy.
This is this is the one that I responded to on Twitter, right?
I think you did, yes.
Okay. I never heard back, so they must not have found it as humorous as I did.
I mean, they were being kind of funny. They were being kind of funny in it, so I think they probably did. Maybe they just didn't reply.
Okay.
Finally, Paul E. Dangerously's last one. is Poe and Luke. He says, I'm just saying, if Poe was born a generation earlier, Luke would have been conflicted on more than just the Force. Poe seems to be the Jedi. Poe seems to like Jedi with identity issues, and Luke likes brunettes that live dangerously. That's pretty good. Next is from Wen Emmerich. I like that that's their username. Says, walk with me, guys. Now, I put their names in here because I had to do an AI search on the first person. I didn't know who that was.
Like a reverse image search?
Yes. Yeah.
Figure out who that was?
It's Orla Jareni and Darth Maul.
It looks kind of like Rey at the end of Skywalker, right? With her yellow
It did,
saber.
and that's who I thought it was at first. And I thought, oh,
Yeah.
it's Rey. It's in form of Rey. And then I found out, oh no, this is somebody from going. Let's see. Let me see if I can get the era.
Orla Jareni?
230 BBY. She died, so she would have been High Republic era Jedi Master.
She's dead before Acolyte takes place. Then that's a bummer.
Correct. Yeah. So that must come up in the High Republic books someday. We really need to read those so we can speak to these things.
Well, we need content later on after the Acolyte. We don't know what we're getting next, so maybe we can dive into some.
We could. That's a good idea. Max Rebo Experience says Mon Mothma and Tech. So he's trying to fuck with both of us here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, I know you don't. Mon does come up quite a few times. Hyperspace Hero says ship name would be, quote, Attitude, and it's Mace Windu and Admiral Holdo.
Man.
That could work. I could see that.
Yeah. There'd be a little bit of like who's on top. I think they'd fight over.
They would.
Yeah.
But what I think would happen is it would be such a passionate relationship that they would be fucking at each other's throats, and then they'd be fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Constantly.
Passion like every way.
Yes.
Also, I feel like you'd have to schedule sex with Holdo.
She's got a schedule to keep. Yeah. I mean, the Holdo maneuver used to mean something else, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Either way, she's blasting through you.
Mace is very familiar with the Holdo maneuver. Adelphi Rangers, you know what he's saying. For a little opposites attract, I'm going with Carson Teva and Zori Bliss. Yeah, they would be very, very different personalities. We just didn't get enough Zori. She was here and gone, just like that.
Yeah, there needs to be more. We need to bring her back, maybe in the sequels or something.
Maybe in a FACPA story.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Flesh out that character. Dominic Walsh says, and he's got a shot of young Lando, and Mira. I had to look this one up, too. I had to do an AI search for this one. This is Mira from Knights of the Old Republic. Let me give you a breakdown of Mira, because I had to look this all up. Mira, this is a mouthful.
It's a mouthful. You're right. But you might have to read this twice, because when I read this, I was like, that's a lot for one person.
It is. So Mira was a human female Mandalorian neo-crusader and bounty hunter turned Jedi sentinel and one of the lost Jedi from the moon Nar Shaddaa. Holy fuck. That's a resume.
Now, what is a neo-crusader and a Jedi sentinel?
I don't know. I think these are all past.
This is above the 60%.
This is way so listen to this last part. Serving as one of the followers of Mitra Surik, the Jedi exile, during her search for lost Jedi masters in 3951 BBY. We're going way back.
Yeah. Holy hell.
No wonder we don't know what any of this stuff means.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it.
And I never played the game. Did you ever play either of the games?
I never did, no.
Okay.
I've always heard people fucking got so into them.
Yeah.
I remember years and years and years ago, my brother telling me about the game. He hadn't even played it. I think he just read something about it. And he was like, it's so extensive and vast and realistic. You can walk from one side of a town to another, and it literally takes you like 30 minutes. I don't know if that's that game. I don't know if it's that game. There was a Star Wars game like that. I don't know if it was that one or a different one, but people love that fucking game.
Yeah.
Next up, Ty, formerly of the 213 Pod, says, not a new idea, but, and he posts a picture of Kenobi with Asajj.
I mean,
same era, dude.
Sexual tension between those two. You know, that made me sad when I read formerly of 213 Pod.
I don't know what else to call him.
Oh, you put that. I thought like he put that. Like
no,
okay,
I put that.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, he used to have a podcast that he did with Chris, and they don't do it anymore. So I always say formerly of 213. I think that's the way to identify him.
I would think that like Kenobi's beard would just be dripping in sweat
Oh boy.
after a tussle with her in the sack, right?
Yes.
I think walls are going down, like fucking fruit off the countertop is being thrown. Like it's an aggressive gymnastics type thing.
Yeah, like you've seen her do those moves where like she isn't she the one who did the move where she like jumps up and basically wraps her legs around your neck and then takes you to the ground? Like she would do that to him. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She would do that and be like, eat.
Yep. And he'd be like, "Ooh." And then like a praying mantis, she would fucking eat his face when she was done with him.
I mean, I think he would surprisingly hold his own, but it's a lot for him to handle. She's a lot to handle.
Right.
It would be awkward with the whole Quinlan thing because he and Quinlan ended up being buddies and, you know.
And maybe this is like, you know, how you fall in love with your friend's ex because like the one's gone. And then, oh no, he couldn't do that because my brain's not working right today. Because it would be him and
him and Quinlan.
Yeah,
sure.
And she comes back to life is what I'm thinking.
Right.
Yes, okay.
I like the way that you position it though, because it sounded like this had literally this had happened to you. You know, it's like when you know
it's every fucking TV trope. Come on.
Sure.
You've ever seen in the WB?
It's fucking Pearl Harbor, right? That's what happened in Pearl Harbor.
Where my head was. Yes. Wow. Michael Bay. Bring him to the show.
Oh god damn.
Can you imagine a Michael Bay Star Wars? We just lost all of our listeners, but my popcorn's already ready.
Well, you're a huge stan of his. That would be so over the top. It'd be hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Kelly Cook says, I would like for Maz to get her dreamboat, her and Chewie. I mean, it's tough because when I did the whole 2 different eras thing, you can't really do it with Maz or Yoda because they're in every era.
Every era.
Old as fuck. Yeah. Ooh.
I wonder if those two have ever had a night together.
Uh-huh.
Right.
That's a lot of years.
Secret love. Like once a century they get together.
Yeah, they're both diminutive little figures, you know?
Right.
Once a century.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to write. You caught that? I'm going to write a Bridges of Madison County.
Oh my God.
What is it like? One of the kids finds the love letters between the two of them and it goes back and tells the story.
I cannot wait to hear the dialogue you have between Maz and Yoda. That's going to be great. Next up is Max Rebo Experience again. He says the obvious one, and it's Hera and Obi-Wan because in real life the actors are together. That would be a good one.
You think they've done it like, you know,
in makeup?
Like, well, she's in makeup, like he just threw on the robe. It's like, let's cosplay this.
It just reminds me of a stupid story where my roommate, I guess he wasn't my roommate at the time yet, but my friend Darren, we went to a Halloween party and he went as one of the Budweiser frogs. So he had green paint on his face and he met this gal who he ended up dating for a long time. And by the end of the night, she had green paint all over her face.
But they're denying it. No, nothing happened.
Yeah, right. I don't know what you're talking about. The last one, Records of the Republic, Wade says, well, in a perfect world, I'd pair that angry ginger Jedi guy with Mon Mothma. Respect.
I appreciate that.
But it's not a perfect world. So Mon goes to Hondo. I have spoken.
I don't see this happening. I just don't.
I don't either, but you never know. Maybe Mon's like, that's like, you know, something she does in the sly.
Right.
She's like, I'm sick of Perrin. And this guy's everything Perrin's
in the
not.
streets.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he is.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for your answers to the question of the week. You will all get entries in our giveaway.
Thank you so much.
On to the news. Let's talk video games. In particular, Star Wars Outlaws, which is now releasing on August 30th, so right around the corner. They dropped a new story trailer on Tuesday, and it looks mighty fine. Although your DM is hilarious because you said that the previous trailer looked like cinematic.
Yeah. Did you go back and watch the two of them and compare them at all?
I did. So is your biggest issue that her dimpled chin doesn't look the same? Is that what your issue is?
Well, it seems a bit more prominent in this one. And then I saw on Twitter, there's other people pointing it out, but they're going like, all of a sudden the character is manly. I don't see that.
I don't see that either.
And I think one of the differences is this story trailer, I think they're showing you actually like gameplay, but you're hearing dialogue over it. Because if you watch it, some of the the lips don't match up. And I think it's because you're seeing one thing but hearing another. And after watching it once or twice, I was like, okay, I see what they're doing. But the first trailer was just like, I think all the cinematic, like her jumping over the table and getting shot at by the bounty hunters or whoever's coming into the bar and she's escaping. And some of the facial seems a little more stiff in the newer scenes.
I can see what you're saying.
Okay.
But yes, you're
Not
right.
terrible.
Some of the cinematic scenes, or some of the cut scenes, I guess you could say, in the newer trailer align more with the old. But you're right. I think they do show some more gameplay stuff. I don't know if you remember this, but a while back they released like 10 minutes of gameplay. Did you ever watch that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks amazing. So I mean, it's always the case. Whenever you have a video game, like the cutscenes look fucking amazing, and then the actual gameplay doesn't obviously look as quite as sharp. But I don't know. I'm not worried. I know some people have been trashing it for whatever reason, but the fact that we're focusing on like bounty hunters in the underworld is exactly a place I wanted to go. So I'm thrilled with this game. And there's a bunch of stuff we got. Like, so from the trailer, there's this new crime syndicate called Zarek Besh, which is led by this Zod looking dude named Sliro. And
I know, Sliro. It's such a perfect Star Wars name. Slimeball.
Yeah, right. Apparently, they're based out of Canto Bight, this group. So it looks like we're going to get some Canto Bight action, which is kind of fun. It also showed the Pikes, the Hutts, Crimson Dawn is represented, and we get a shot of Kira, which is interesting. Which
I didn't realize that was her until Twitter went nuts over it.
I think at first everybody thought, oh, is that Kira? And then thought, no, it's not Kira. It's going to be somebody else. And then the makers of the game were like, yeah, no, it's Kira.
Man, that's awesome.
But not voiced by Emilia Clarke. So it will be voiced by somebody else. But it's cool to have her character in this. There's also a group called the Ashiga clan. And those are those dudes that are wearing like those heavy, almost like headdresses that look like they weigh about 100 pounds.
Yeah. Yep. Those are fucking awesome looking.
It looks cumbersome. And then so they're kind of setting that Cave Vest, the main character, up as like this upstart in the underworld, kind of trying to earn her way and try to get a reputation and all that kind of stuff. So it's got a little bit of that vibe to it. There's this Jalen character that's supposed to be bringing her in on this job where I think she's supposed to double cross Sliro and steal from him or something like that. But like I said, a lot of focus on like building your reputation. That opens up things in the game when you have a certain reputation. It allows you to do different things.
Right.
We get this character Vale, who's a bounty hunter who's going to be hired by Sliro to go after Kay. So there's quite a storyline here, and something that I could see them bringing into some sort of animation or live action someday.
Well, what I read, it takes place between between Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Right, because you see Han in Carbonite at on Tatooine at Jabba's palace.
Yep,
you see
Jabba
Jabba
in the trailer.
Yeah.
We see, so it's cool. Like it, and it looks like it's just playing enough where like it's familiar, like it's she's in that, but she's not part of the main story. The Skywalker, like she kind of just loops through that one little part, which I think makes it fun. It makes it recognizable. You're like, oh, I'm familiar with this. I know what I'm doing.
Right, it's familiar, but you're not messing with the previous story. I like that.
Yeah. Now, in the comic books, you didn't read many of the comic books, and I didn't read this series, but I've seen a lot of it online. There was the big story where you find out Han was married previously, and I can't remember if she was a bounty hunter or what she was, but there was a whole like where she went looking for him. I think like during the time he was in Carbonite, there's like a whole episode like takes place between like Boba Fett and her, he's in Carbonite or whatever, and then you see this new character also when he's in so I'm like, oh, are we going to see Han's wife maybe?
Oh, that's interesting. I never even know that. I didn't know that storyline at all. Huh?
Yeah.
I didn't know he had been married. Does Leia know?
Oh, I don't know. We never knew until this happened. So yeah, I don't know how far it goes and if that's ever talked about again. But I know that was like a big this never happened. But the comic books, they're canon, so I guess it did. But it had a lot of uprising.
Leia finds out that the ex-wife's got a restraining order against Han. She's like, ooh,
yeah. Now, is there any issue taken with the fact that you have to play as a woman?
Why would there be an issue with that?
I don't know, but there is all over the interwebs.
That's
like,
so
who
weird.
Gives a shit?
Is it just because just because the main character is always a guy? I mean, this came up in you're seeing it more often with like well, I think because aren't these the same people that made Assassin's Creed? I believe it is.
Ubisoft, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So they had like I think it's Odyssey, and I don't know if the newer one has it, but you could pick if you want to be the male or the female character. It allows you those options. So it does not surprise me that the man baby segment of the Star Wars world is like, yeah, I want to be a guy. Yeah, I knew they were going to do that. I knew they were going to say that. But who fucking cares? It's a character in a game.
Well, that's the thing is like, if you get to create your own character, then you're not really playing within like canon. And this story, right, I'm guessing is something that's going to this happens once you played it. This is the story. This involves like this exists in the Star Wars canon. So you're playing this character. You're like, there's a whole story involving this character that goes through this adventure within the Star Wars that we're familiar with. So I don't understand the problem with it. It was sort of like the people I saw bitching about playing Mary Jane in the Spider-Man game. I'm like, they were just small levels. They were like, you just, you play as her for a certain board or two, and then it goes back to being one of the two Spider-Mans. It's like, it's so weird how people just get up and.
Was there a bunch of fervor when like Jedi Fallen Order came out, and they're like, why isn't it Callie Kestis? Why can't I play as a woman? No, they just played the character.
I know. Right.
I mean, fuck. So I don't know. It's so bizarre, but it's not surprising. That comes up. You just know it's coming. You some more familiar stuff you get. She's on Kijimi at some point, so you get to see where we saw Zori Bliss in Rise of Skywalker. So that's pretty cool. You see obviously Tatooine. You get a crate dragon. That make you hungry?
Yeah, I saw a post today. Someone posted. It's the exact same. I think they just took from the Mandalorian and used that for the game. So they didn't have to like design their own again. Yeah.
Well, that works.
Someone put the two stills up, and it's like it's even got the same teeth.
Oh,
who gives a shit?
So if you look close, Cobb Vanth in there somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
At one point, she's sliding toward the Sarlacc pit too. It's like, whoa, boy.
Right.
It looks like a lot of fun, this game. They do have a few versions of this game that everybody's bitching about, and I understand why. There's like the regular one that's the regular game. They've got the Gold Edition, which has a couple other missions in it. And then they've got the Ultimate or something. Is it Ultimate? Is that what it's called? Edition? Where like they add on some of that cosmetic shit. I mean, that's the thing that I always get kind of like meh about is, and this happens a lot in Jedi Survivor, is so many of like the crates you find and like upgrades you get are just like, oh, you now have like, you can wear this shirt. I'm like, I don't really care that much about that stuff.
Right.
Stuff that's going to enhance your ability to win the game and fight and do all that stuff. Sure. Mm-hmm. But the actual cosmetic stuff, I really don't care about that much, but that's part of the Ultimate pack. So some people are complaining like, why are you selling a game and then making us buy a bunch of additional, missions and all that kind of stuff? They're kind of getting pissed about that. Whatever. I'm going to just buy the regular game.
No one's fucking making you. They're giving you the game, and there's some extras they're putting up, and people want to buy that shit. That's Spider-Man 2. They did that. You got like 4 extra Spider-Man skins, and there was something else if you bought like the Ultimate pack or whatever. It's the same as the Star Wars is doing, and that thing sold like crazy.
The add-on shit is how all those video game companies make their money, it seems like these days. Right. I mean, look at all the shit that people buy. The amount of times I see V-Bucks mentioned for Fortnite or whatever that is. Yeah. It's outrageous. So it's not surprising. I will wait and see what it is as far as getting the extra missions, but I'm just going to buy the regular game. But I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a lot of fun.
Is this going to be PS, PlayStation, and Xbox?
It's on everything. Yep.
Everything. Okay, cool. Yeah. I got a PS5, so I'll be playing this.
I feel like you don't play a lot of video games. I was going to ask you that. Are you really going to play this, or are you playing it for the content more than the fun of playing the video game?
Yeah, I'll play it, but I'm also like I'm going to do videos where I'm just bitching about being a girl in a game.
Is that how we're going to launch our YouTube channel?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So lame.
As my daughters are watching me play, and I'm just like, this is stupid.
Right. Dumb girls.
Yeah.
Oh man. Quick movie news. We know that James Mangold is busy at the moment. I think did he wrap up what he was doing previously, and now he's working on the Bob Dylan thing? Is that what's next for him, I think?
Yes. Is that Mangold that's doing the Bob Dylan? Right? Yeah.
And then
he was writing. No, is it Mangold? Why does that sound wrong?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Anyways, I know he was at one point he was gonna write and direct the Swamp Thing, and then this, and he had said whatever script came to fruition first. So,
okay, well, it seems like this is coming down the pike for him pretty soon. So he'll turn his attention to writing it. That's the Dawn of the Jedi movie that we've heard mentioned. Set the origins of the Force set like 25,000 years ago or before the Phantom Menace, I guess. And it was recently revealed that he'll have some help with his writing. as Bo Willimon, I guess is how you say that. I can't remember how to say the name, has signed on as a co-writer. Now, this is fucking great news because Bo Willimon wrote the prison arc for Andor. And if you recall, not only does he have like some great lines and sequences, especially great lines for Circus, but that's the Luthen Rail speech, which is just so fucking good. So he's obviously was heavily involved in that. So this is one of those where it's like, not to mention he's written a lot of stuff. He's been involved in a lot of stuff. He's involved in season 2 of Andor as well, which is good.
Yep.
He was a writer on, or maybe he was the sole writer, I don't remember, on Ides of March. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. That was really good.
Oh yeah, with Clooney and
Gosling.
Ryan.
Not Gosling.
Gosling, yeah.
No, it is Gosling.
Nope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Great movie. This was good. It was good to hear this because you've got a guy who obviously is a good writer, but also knows how to do the Star Wars writing thing. So to have him collaborating with Mangold, I think is just going to make that movie even better.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Looks good. One other movie note is just that Disney finally confirmed officially that Mando Grogu is the May 2026 movie that's coming out. Yep. Goes into production in June, and that means that likely the December slot is going to be the Rey New Jedi Order movie. So the Mangold one will probably be the 27 movie, I would guess.
Yeah. And I saw that they shoot from like what? When did you say? June to September, October, something like that, but they're shooting in both, was it LA and London?
I think you're right. It's been a while since I looked at all the production notes, but you're right. That's a short, I guess not. That's 4 months, huh? I think about it all the time because of the fact that we have these huge shows with these big budgets and they go on and film for real long periods of time. You could shoot a movie in 4 months. I mean, there's going to be reshoots, there's going to be editing and all that. Yeah,
but it sounds like if they're going to London, they didn't say specifically Pinewood Studios, but if you're going to London, I'm guessing that's what they're doing. So they're going to be shooting sound stages and, well, does Pinewood have a volume? I know we discussed this before. I think they were building one at one point, but I don't think they're going to London to go from one to the other. So I'm guessing they're going to do soundstage work plus some volume work, and that's probably what's taking place when they're they shoot in LA, right? Or is it Atlanta? I can't remember where they shoot, but they gave 2 locations. I'm guessing that's what they're doing. And we were talking before, like we wanted a movie that, if it's a movie, we want like practical. So it sounds like we're going a little bit of both.
Yes, I mean, like we've talked about before, the volume is great for certain things, especially space sequences, space battles, etc. But when it comes to stuff on the ground, like go ahead and live in it. Be in an actual real environment if you can. That would be great.
Agreed.
Well, should we move on to the Bad Batch?
Let's do it.
Okay, so not going to lie, like you said before, it was kind of tough to get a short episode as the only thing we get for a week, Like you get done with it and you're like, shit, that was it? I got to wait for the next week? It certainly left you wanting more, and I get that this is... I think last week I mentioned that I thought this episode was going to be the one where it was kind of like get all the ducks in a row and the people in their appropriate places for the final big swing of these last 3 episodes. And so that's what they did, but it was a little on the short side. It it all was toward the larger goal of the whole season, but still it was kind of like you got done, you were like, nah.
Yeah, it was quick. If anything, they could have just extended some of the action. Like that was it was kind of a fun little mission they were on. But it was just quick and boom, and then we're back at Mount Tantus, and it's pretty quick.
Yes, it is pretty quick, and I think it was very reminiscent of a mission they've done in the first 2 seasons, especially the first season. It's very 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 likened to that. Oh, and can I just say I fucking knew Rampart was coming back. I said this a long time ago.
Called it.
I was told by somebody like, no, the voice actor said he's not involved at all, blah, blah, blah. Well, of course he said he's not involved at all.
Right.
Want to ruin the surprise.
He's paid to lie.
Yeah, they are. That's what actors are. Paid liars. So don't trust anything they say. One thing I am sad about, though, is that we did not get a Sid murder scene this week, which means we probably aren't going to get one.
I know.
It would have been this week.
It should have been, but we don't. Maybe we got an episode. Well, we have 3 left. I still feel like there's like 1 before they go to Mount Tantus, so they have to, right? They have to fucking just.
Maybe that's Rampart's idea. He's like, we got to go talk to Sid. That's his way around that because he doesn't know where it is exactly. I don't know. I like to think of, or maybe I should write a fact story about that. Maybe I should fill in the gap there and talk about CX2 going and torturing her and or fucking her. And And then, you
Okay.
know, what has to happen, you know, for her to die and be killed. Maybe she gets killed by Bolo and Ketch, the two that were in her bar all the time. All right. Anyway, Juggernaut, episode 12. So we open on Tantus, and CX2 delivers Omega to Hemlock. Just keeps fucking pushing her. You know? Like, hey, back off, man. He takes her, that is Hemlock, Hargrove, takes her into the lab where Emery is taking her blood to confirm that the M count binding thing is working. And Hemlock tells Omega that Nala Se is in lockup and won't be there to help her escape again. Dick.
Right, yeah. And then he's just like, well, if you can handle this, I'm going to go fuck off for now. I'll be back in a little bit.
Maybe he had too much crate steak. He had to go take a shit. He's like, I'll be back after I take my shit, and I better have the results.
Immediately.
It should have been, while that was going on, they should have been like, you know, pan to a shot of him in a stall reading a newspaper. Whistling, yeah. And then Omega tells Emery, she's like, you know, you don't have to do this. And Emery's clearly so conflicted. And she's like, I kind of do have to do it. And then she says something about how she's like, well, for what it's worth, I'm glad you're safe. And Omega says, am I? And she's like, yeah, you're totally safe. You're fine. I got to get back to work.
I think you meant to say, I'm glad you're alive.
Right.
Which,
not safe.
Potentially for how long? Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine if they kill her? Especially if they killed her like 2 episodes before the finale.
Oh man!
So
like
like,
next week she dies, and then they're like mounting the they're gonna go in, and then she's already dead. Like we as a viewer know.
Wow. This is all for naught, guys. You're throwing away your lives for somebody who's already gone.
Say Disney doesn't have balls now, complainers.
She's in the amber. Maybe she's in the amber. So the Imperials back on Pabu, the Imperials are kind of clearing out, and we never really get the awkward chat that we were hoping for with Hunter, bitching out Crosshair for giving up, Omega. But we do hear Wrecker give him some shit about it, which I thought was fun. It was nice.
I can't believe it.
And they're like, well, shit, Hunter goes, even if we had a ship, we have no way of finding Tantus. And that's when Crosshair, his hands twitching because he's thinking about Tantus again. He reveals, well, we could grab Admiral Rampart because I think he might know. And I thought, because he sent her, he said something about how he sent Nala Se there. So he would know where Tantus is. Because I don't think Rampart ever went there, right? He never went there himself. I don't think.
No, we just saw him send, yeah.
So mid-conversation, them talking about this, Fee pops up with AZ.
Literally.
Yeah, literally fucking straight through the ground. And they've got their ship. She's going to help them. I like the fact that you get this exchange with Fee and Crosshair, where she's like, oh, you must be Crosshair. Tech told me all about you.
I like how it's 3 episodes in a row where everyone's just parking in these fucking underground caves. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, and there happens to be like, an elevator lift into this room right here. Like, what the
Everybody
fuck?
knew this thing was there. Like I said, it was on CX2's like map of possible landing spots when he was coming into the town. So it's weird.
Yeah. Nobody's guarding it, watching it, anything like this. Just, anybody can come and go.
Simple backdoor.
Yeah. I feel like maybe there's going to be a security check-in now, after all this shit went down.
You would think they would want to at least put like a little, tripwire or an alarm or something.
Maybe like a flight tower, like who's coming and going.
Even like a Ring doorbell. Just that, just something that shows somebody walking in. So they head out for this Imperial labor camp on a planet called Erebus, which I don't believe we've ever seen before. It did look a lot like what
the Mando
Jyn
episode,
or what it looked like. That it also looked like kind of what Jyn was doing in the beginning of Rogue One when she was on one of those transports and working.
That's right,
labor. Yeah. So you get this quick shot of the Juggernaut tanks. I guess I didn't even think about the fact that those tanks were called Juggernauts, but didn't put 2 and 2 together when this episode was coming up, and the fact that we saw that shit for the trailer. I'm smart. So this thing's hauling prisoners out to this mining facility, and that's where we see Dum Dum Rampart working his shift. He's working with his Ugnaught, and he just is so fucking sick of this Ugnaught.
Yep.
Who's speaking Huttese or whatever, and he's like, I can't understand you. He's rocking that beard. You like that? I think it's an improvement.
Didn't recognize him at first. I was like, is this supposed to be Rampart? Like he was just, he's all grown out, and until he starts, that smug attitude comes out. And
I know this guy.
You're not disguising anything, buddy.
No, I know this clown. So Fee shares some intel she gathered on Erebus, and the plan is to drop in, find Rampart, pick them up. Fee comes in, grabs them, and they get the fuck out of there.
So quick and easy.
Fee, as they're flying in, decides to do a death drop into the atmosphere.
Now, again, like I get cutting the engines because then they're like, okay, there's not a ship, right? Because if they're looking for like a signal or something.
Mhm.
But if you're watching like any radar and you're just going to see this thing dive bombing, right? Like I didn't quite get it, but all right. All right.
Express elevator to hell, going down. So the batch decide to jump the tank with Rampart aboard. So they're like, we got to get him in route back to the base.
Yeah.
So they get out there, they board the tank, they take out the driver, and then they snag Rampart. Now, did you like the whole Plan 55 move there? What he says? Did you hear that?
Bounce the lasers off the walls.
Yes, because he says it's what did he say? It's magnetically sealed, straight rip from A New Hope, when they're in the trash compactor.
The trash. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. Also, kind of a little bit of a nod to when Crosshair was doing the angled shots when he was with Commander Cody in season 2, up the stairs.
Right.
So they decide to just release all the prisoners, and then they kind of just try to hightail it to get outside the perimeter so Fee can pick them up. And that's when another tank tries to cut them off, and they have this scene on the bridge where they're blowing up, shooting at each other, and they pull off a pretty miraculous jump once they blow the tires on the other tank.
Yeah, that was they just got done watching some Fast and Furious.
Yes, it was a little far-fetched.
Hold on, we're gonna use it as a ramp.
He did that thing with the controls like you do on your bike. He did the and like pull them up.
Yeah.
Then the gunships come in. They're in pursuit, and they manage to take out one of them. But then the rest of them they drop these troopers down on him. Right. And that's what I love, how he just does the shake, 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 and they all just go fucking flying off.
Tears them out. I love the guy who gets stuck in between the mountain wall and the Juggernaut and screams as he dies. You idiot.
Later, like during this commotion, at one point, Rampart grabs a blaster and tries to shoot Crosshair, who stuns him. Come on, dude.
Well, first he shoots the gun out of his hand, so he's got his shot back when he's not worrying about shit. Right?
Yes, right.
And then he's like, "You're not going to kill me." He says, "Not now," and stuns his ass. I love the fact that this guy is a limp fucking noodle now.
Oh my God!
How they're transporting him.
This is the highlight of the episode. He is fucking Weekend at Bernie's. I mean, when they toss him aboard Fee's ship and he starts to slide off, I fucking almost pissed my pants. That's amazing.
Wrecker, like he's nothing. Wrecker just tosses him.
That limp body just goes down the stairs.
There's like, a concussion waiting to happen.
So let go of him. Oh man!
Not even, hey, try to catch him. No, he just chucks him on the fucking ship.
Like it was anything. Like it was his helmet. There.
Yeah.
Oh, and but just before that, they had asked Rampart, because he's like, "Why are you here for me?" And then they said, "You need to tell us how to get to Tantus." And he's like, "I'll help you if you get me out of here." So that was kind of the arrangement. Yeah. That's why they took his limp body with them. Rampart's woken up later, and he shares that, so I don't really know where Tantus is, because nobody knows where Tantus is. But I think I know a way to find out. So let's speculate on that in a minute. Meanwhile, back on Tantus, Emery confirms that Omega's blood sample revealed a favorable M count replication, much to the freshly relieved Hemlock.
Yes.
He takes Omega to the vault while explaining to her, like, okay, this is the work we're doing. This is why you're important to it. And then he's, walks her in the room. And she's like, who are these kids? And he's like, oh, they're the other piece of the puzzle. And you will be staying here now. Enjoy your new home.
Yeah.
Boom, door shuts.
And she's like, oh, fuck, I just walked past like 9 laser beams. I'm never getting out of here.
I'm not getting out of here. No chance.
Yeah.
Oh, man. She's going to make fast friends with those kids, though.
Way to end on a good vibe.
Yeah.
You're here forever.
They did kind of do that music, didn't they? It wasn't like the sad, like the somber, like, boom. It was literally like, hey, anyway, see you next week. All right. So let's speculate. What is Rampart's plan? Like, how's he going to help them find Tantus? Has he got like a contact? Does he have some ship that he can go back and read the logs of where it went or something? Like, what's his plan?
Well, that's what I'm thinking, because we saw at one point there were several ships that went to Mount Tantus, right?
Yeah.
When all the trips were, and that's not even the Emperor. Or maybe that's what he's going to do, is to just call the Emperor. But hey, bud.
He's going to fake Darth's voice.
Yeah.
Hey, I was trying to find Tantus.
Yeah. Because I mean, Tarkin doesn't even know where this place is at, so there's no. Yeah, I'm curious. Unless it's gonna have to be like, but he doesn't have any like relation or any reason to get a hold of like any bounty hunter or scoundrel or anything, right? But like you think like somewhere in some channels there's been some talk, right? I'm not quite sure what he's picking up on, but I think you're right with there's got to be ships that have gone somewhere that maybe they can look at the records.
How has nobody stumbled upon this world? It's not like it's Exegol where you need the fucking Wayfinder. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You think somebody would have just...
the fact that, like, it's not like the mountain is hidden. It's a fucking mountain with, like, windows and shit on it.
And lit up. There's nothing around it.
Emperor.
Yeah, the only lights around there are on this mountain. Everything else is just mountains. Yep. I don't know. Yeah. It seems like somebody would know. People talk, somebody would know. I don't know. I'm curious as to what his plan is, because he certainly seems like he thinks he's got some
Maybe
way of
Rampart knows Hemlock's mom. Like, where's he calling you from?
She's got postcards from him with a return address. Fuck, Mom. Well, another thing is Emery's got to do something. She's got to act in some fashion. It's all been set up. She's totally uncomfortable. Nala Se's basically told her, you can do something about this. So I'm wondering exactly what she's going to do. Is she going to free Nala Se, or will that end up being Omega? I'm wondering, because somebody's going to get Nala Se out of that cell.
Yeah, that's true.
So does Emery team
really
up
think
with Nala Se?
it's her that's going to make some type of call out or something, whether she gets the information from Omega or Nala Se convinces her to do something, but she's not comfortable, obviously, with the fact that like these kids are being held, and now Omega's in there. And it's only going to go one way, right? I mean, they're just going to keep drawing blood until they're empty sacks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they do take a lot of their blood. She's the one with all the clearance. She's the one that can make something happen, and which is what Nala Se was kind of, alluding to. So I think she's going to concoct some plan to get Omega out of the vault and to get Nala Se out of her cell so that they can kind of figure out what's next. Maybe she starts with going to Nala Se first. I'm not sure, but Emery's got to act. She's got to do something.
Do either of them die? Does Hemlock just had enough?
It would do either. You mean Nala Se or Emery?
Right.
That's a good question. You could easily kill Emery. I don't think Emery dies. I could see Nala Se dying.
Okay.
I don't know what else you do with her character.
Knowledge with her though. I don't know why to kill her, other than he just seems like we're gonna see some sick sadistic shit come from this guy. Like we've seen it, like it's burning, we see it in the underlayers of him, but I think he's gonna go full villain. Like we're gonna hate this guy, and maybe that's what he kills Omega. He's like, if I can't have her, no one can.
Yeah. I mean, he's a total sociopath. The fact that he like talks to Emery Card and is like, these are scientific specimens, nothing more. They're fucking children. Mm-hmm. But yeah, maybe he's at some point he goes into the cell to talk to Nala Se, and she's speaking that slow drawl, and he just goes, fucking whips out a vibro blade, just cuts her head off.
He's had enough.
Speed it up. Are we ever going to find out who CX2 is? I assume we're going to get more action of him when the battle comes to Tantus.
I don't think it matters who CX2 is. I think it's whoever's in that, the one that's still cooking in the oven.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get something out of that.
Because people still...
But here's the thing, is like, with 3 episodes left, I feel like they're setting more up for something else than they are...
I agree.
Finishing off, like, answering questions and the end. No.
There's not going to be a tidy bow.
No, there's no way in hell. Yeah.
No, they're going to leave open story threads, but there are certainly a lot of things that need to be... There's at least a few things that need to be kind of wrapped up. I think if CX2 is anybody, which I really don't think it is, other than maybe some sort of cloned version of Bad Batch people or Crosshair or whatever, I don't know. I don't know that we might find that out, maybe, because he's got to clearly be involved with that invasion whenever it happens of Tantus.
How fast can they clone someone though? Like there's not enough time to like clone Crosshair, right?
That's true. So, or that we talked about, like, are they doing some sort of fucking DNA splicing or something and getting some of his attributes into these people? I don't know. But we talked a while ago about like Tantus, and I mean they can't actually destroy it, right? I mean, I guess you can go against the books and stuff that later where it's later brought up, but like it's
that's
those
the thing,
post Return
right?
of the
like,
Jedi stuff.
Is this something that's going to be used later to bring in more of the story elements that we're familiar with, or is this going to be one and done with this thing? Yeah, I don't know. Also, I just had this like vision. It can't be a clone of Crosshair or Tech, because then you're making a clone of a clone. Now we're multiplicity. Now we've got the we've got the stupid one that's, hey Steve, he's nailing 2x4s to the floor pretending he's skiing. Like,
right. It's a photocopy of a photocopy. It's not going to work.
Right, yeah.
Or maybe the end is when the Empire eventually fends off the attack or whatever, and then you just see a bunch of people like hammering and stuff, closing off the exposed areas of Mount Tantus. So like, you know what, guys, this was way too easy to find. Like, we gotta close
Now
this baby
closed.
up. So
Right. Yeah.
What else was it? Oh, I also shared with you this tweet at one point in our DMs where it was a Star Wars tweet where they're talking about going all in. What did you say about she's a teenager? What'd you say?
Yeah, I don't remember what I said, but yeah, the way that
Jesus, Disney. Oh, that was funny. But no, there were a few interesting bits here. I think they're trying to trick us with that one because, first of all, we hear Crosshair say, if we all go in, we're not all making it out. Now, I don't remember him saying that before. It certainly seems like foreshadowing and probably him calling his own death.
Right, I think so.
As he's breathing his last breath, he's like, called it.
Yeah.
Dead.
He called his own death. I knew it. That's why I didn't want to go back. I
told you guys. I fucking
it's your
told you
fault.
guys. Rewind. But then there's a line from Rex where he says, "We're going down, strap in." That's from earlier in the season. That's from when that's from when they're getting shot down by the CX2 on Teth. So that looks like a little bit of a trick. You know, they're fucking with us there. And then finally we hear some Imperials say abort the mission, and Hunter says negative. Again, I don't know what that is. They might just be cutting things together. I'm not sure.
Right.
They're real tricky like that. So,
yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I assume the next episode is going to be obviously Rampart taking them to whatever solution it is to find Tantus. And then I think the storyline of Emery trying to figure out how the fuck to help Omega and maybe Nala Se is going to be starting. Like, she's going to get that moving.
Well, they're not going to Mount Tantus, the 4 of them, right? 3 of them. So, like, are they going to bring in Echo? Are they going to bring in Rex and the other guys? Like, where? Like, it's weird, like how. Well, we've talked about that, but like, there's been like no mention, other than when we saw Wolf and all them, and but again, they all fucked off and went and did their own thing. Like, there's no like, we're putting the band back together. Like, there's got to be they can't just go in there alone.
Well, a couple things. One is the last mention of Echo was Crosshair mentioned it when Pabu was being invaded. He said, let's steal a gunship and then we can contact Echo. That was the last mention of him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The last episode's called, what, The Cavalry has Arrived or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
That's got to be the clones coming in. That's got to be Rex and Echo.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
That's what, we were thinking. Also, maybe Mount Tantus has like an under mountain cavernous garage that they can just fly into and park.
It might be. No ring doorbell. See? It's easy to sneak in.
The Pabu is an exact replica of Mount Tantus, and no one knows it.
It's funny
like,
you say that. They very much look similar. They do look a lot similar, you know? So, yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's essentially the schematics for Pabu is the same as the one for Mount Tantus. Yeah. They're sisters. You know how you have sister cities?
Yes, exactly.
Sister cities.
Sister mountains.
Sister mountains. That might have to be the episode title.
The title.
All right. Well, that was it. Unless you have anything else. Do you have anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. I don't think.
All right. The next one is Into the Breach or whatever. I think is the next episode, something like that. So
okay.
I think I'm looking forward to seeing what they do there because clearly, like you said, this episode was short. We didn't make a lot of progress. It set some things up, but there wasn't a lot of actual progress in this episode. So I'm hoping the next one's going to hit hard. Maul Bag. Email number 1, Brian Hour. One thing you might have missed on the trailer for Tales of the Empire, if you did not have the subtitles on, is that we are now getting the clans of the Night Sisters being introduced. First introduced in the Legends courtship of Princess Leia, this will give ways for Morgan, Marin, and Asajj to coexist. In Legends, the Night Sisters were formed when the daughter of the Singing Mountain matriarch tried to kill her mother. That is a fucking sentence.
Wow.
The daughter of the Singing Mountain matriarch. So happy to have more Night Sister lore being given to us. Thank you, Brian.
He does like the Night Sister.
He likes Marin a lot. That's his gal.
Yeah. And Marin is from the
Jedi
games,
Fallen
right?
Order, and Survivor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I went back and checked the subtitles because I do recall them saying somebody's name when they were talking to Morgan, and what it says is Mountain Clan Matron.
Okay.
So these are clans. So you were saying, oh, is this some whole new group of witches? I guess it's maybe a clan of the larger Night Sisters group that was speaking to her.
Yeah, because I was the one shot with them looking down, and it looked like she was with other people. So okay, so we were onto something. We just didn't know what we were onto. Thank you, Brian.
Right. Thank you, Brian. It's another clan.
Oh.
Unite the clans. That was it. That was it for Maul Bags. No voicemails this week.
That's it. Nope. Damn it. Bring the voicemails next week. Just let us know what you think's going to happen. I want to know. You can either make that a question of the week, or we can just leave this for our listeners. Send us a voicemail and give us your rundown of how you think the show's going to wrap up.
Okay.
Let's see who's right. The winner gets an extra point for the toys.
So how should I do that with question of the week? With 3 episodes, something like with 3 episodes to go, like what's your biggest storyline? Like what's your biggest prediction moment? Like what's the biggest thing that's going to happen?
Yeah. Yep.
Let's
do that.
We'll do that.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.
Laugh it up, fuzzballs.
We have spoken.